to get the newest pair of Air Jordans. A crowd busted through this door in Indiana. And remember, as you're watching these pictures, this is all over shoes. A few people got trampled. Doors were ripped right off their hinges. The Air Jordan Retro shoes just went on sale early Friday morning.
Since I was a kid, I've been, working hard just to come up here early in the morning, just to wait in line to get these shoes.
I was the first person out of everybody that was out here to get these right here.
How many pairs of Air Jordans do you have?
I have about 9 pair of Air Jordans, but it does not matter about those. It matters about these right here.
This was the scene in Kansas City where people were sprinting through the halls. But that's nothing compared to this mall in the Seattle area where people use pepper spray to break up a crowd that was pushing and shoving.
I got burnt, man. Look, it came all over my face. My mouth is on fire.
Look at it. You can see it.
My eye, look. I can't.
What's up, everybody? We are back live. The Kings Court is in session. How we doing today? Dog days of summer. Yeah, Bane, we are three away from 1,000 on the X. So once we hit 1,000, I said we are going to be announcing something fun for the show and all of you. We've noticed there's like a community growing around this show, which has been really cool seeing some of you get to know each other, say hi to each other each day. And if it's your first time, get involved in the chat. It's a fun show. I know the Kings are at the top of the banner on the show, but we talk a little bit of everything, especially in the summer, in the off season. For instance, you heard at the start there, young kids or younger people, you don't know how well you have it when it comes to shoes. My generation, we didn't have the internet. We had like the AOL ding dong, you know what I mean? But we didn't have like where we could have our Jordans delivered to our front door. We couldn't pre-order our shoes. We had to go line up at the malls to get them. And yes, that was relatively calm compared to what it used to be. If you're from Sacramento, like is this show about animals? John, sometimes it is. In fact, I have a new story about cats that we'll get to later today. Boston has opened a cat cafe. Yes, a cat cafe. Go have some espresso and chill with like 80 cats. That sounds like a good idea, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Getting back to my point, the shoes though, man. If you went to Florin Mall, you went to Arden Mall, you were like camping out, like at least 24 hours beforehand. And the Jordans, by the way, like when they got up to like $160, I believe it was the 13s that started really bumping the price up. But anyways, it was an experience. So we got talking about shoes towards the latter part of the show yesterday. So I'm going to unveil my top 5 pairs of Jordans. And then I've also got my top 5 ugliest pairs of shoes, basketball shoes of all time. If you guys have a list, let me know. We will talk about that as well. More importantly, though, your Kings currently in action from Vegas against the New York Knicks. They were tied 53-53 at the half. Right now, the Knicks in 9-point lead, 96-87, 4:23 left in the fourth quarter. That game is on NBA TV. If you want to simulcast, listen to the Kings Court and watch that. You are more than welcome to. Keon Ellis, a big game today, 24 points leading the way for the Kings, and the turnovers are down. They're down, which is huge. He's only got 2 for the day. Adam, Horse probably already has like 80 cats at his house. And by the way, speaking of Horse, dude, I got a beef with you. You know, with the Rome show, they beef on Thursdays. Horse, here's my beef with you. I went to the store to buy you Diet Coke, and I never understood your thing with Diet Coke. You drink like 9 of them a day, or you used to drink 9 of them a day. And You had one. You had one when you came to the King's Court, which left me with 5 Diet Cokes. So what happens? The wife's like, hey, you got to start drinking those. But then she gets on me for drinking soda, right? And then all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, why have I had 2 Diet Cokes today? Horse, this crap's got to get in my house. Got to get out of my house. Excuse me. Yeah, not a lot expected of some of these guys. Again, I think the guys like your Reed Shepherds, your Mateus Buzelas, those guys are probably going to have a little bit more success right off the bat. Your taller guys, your 7-footers, your European guys, French guys, it's a much bigger adjustment for them coming to the NBA than it is for somebody coming out of college. And some of those guys were G League Ignite, which is a good program they're running through the G League. Speaking of the G League, Lindsey Harding, we touched on that at the end of the show yesterday. She is headed to Los Angeles. She was the head coach of your Stockton Kings. Jay, I know he was the number 2 pick. He was supposed to be number 1 going into the draft until about 2 weeks leading up to it because he did not want to be a part of Atlanta's program. So, yeah, I don't think there is. You know what you're getting. I would disagree with that. But anyways, and especially with that Washington team, Jay, I know they're trying to retool a little bit. I thought they would be more in the sweepstakes for Cooper Flag, but looks like they're trying to be a little more competitive. And by the way, it's Summer League. That's the thing. It's Summer League. I get shooting the ball translates anytime, but it's Summer League. These guys are getting used to the grinds. This is their first taste, unless you came from the G League, of an NBA system. Do you want to call it a system? I guess more of an NBA schedule. What's that like? You get a shoot around in or a practice. You do a little film. It's like being on the road. It's kind of that first, if you played high school basketball or you're lucky enough to play in college, you know, that you go play camps in the off season. A lot of times we went to Santa Barbara, played in that camp all the time. And it's getting to know your teammates, getting a feel for each other. I will say this though. I was really impressed, or I have been impressed with Mason Jones. He's shooting the ball from beyond the arc over 50% for the summer in Vegas. And everybody keeps asking, you've probably heard it on numerous shows, could there be another Keon Ellis, a diamond in the rough that the Kings may be able to develop this season? Mace seems to be kind of the off pick. Colby Jones is the one a lot of people are looking at, but I will say this, Mike Brown is a huge Mason Jones fan when he's not on the court, because Mace just brings a level. He's a great teammate. He brings some energy that nobody else on the Kings had last year. And that's why it helped. When do you ever hear Mike Brown talking about a guy that doesn't play in a post-game press conference, talking about the energy? I've had the opportunity to meet Mace a couple times, talk to him. His energy is infectious. You can only meet him at his level. So good for him. It'll be interesting to see. He came into Sacramento, by the way, when he was acquired, he was overweight. And it's on the record. I'm not saying anything that's privileged. And he's worked his ass off to get back down into shape. And really, probably this summer is the best shape I've ever seen him in. So he's going to make a run at it. He is going to try. He is currently under a 2-way deal for the Kings. We'll see if he can make an impact for them, or at least have the chance to do so. Let's see, Jay arguing about the number 2. Yes, indeed. Sea-Dog, 50-26 dropped on the list. Yes, I've got the list up as well, so we can go through those. A lot more soccer players, huh, Sea-Dog? And I'm sure, because I looked through it already, a couple that you've got a bone to pick. BJ, what's up, man? Welcome in today to the King's Court. Make sure you guys come back tonight, 8 o'clock. Grant and I will be wrapping up the night. It's kind of a fun show because we're talking some Kings, but we'll get a little off track. If there's a subject that you've ever wanted to talk to Grant about, it's a great time to bring it up to him. And if you want to bring up the lawsuit stuff, you know, here's what I'll tell you about the lawsuit. Grant will tell you when there's going to be an update. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't ask if anything's happened, but probably not a big in-depth conversation there is needed. But anything outside of that, experiences, you know, golf, he loves talking golf. So Don't bring up the Olympics. Don't bring up Summer League. Not a fan of those. You guys know the routine with Napes, though. We'll be back at 8 o'clock. It will be fun. So, yeah, we've got our shoe lists. I've got some ugly, ugly shoes. I mean, some donkeys of some shoes from back in the 90s and 2000s. Yes, Bane. Team USA won today. Steph Curry, 24 points for them. Getting all tuned up. Olympics coming up very soon. How about Gilbert Arenas, too? I know we didn't touch on it here on the Kings Court because I didn't want to give it a ton of run, but I appreciate De'Aaron Fox standing up for Sacramento. And Gilbert Arenas, he's an idiot. Literally an idiot. If your only argument is going to be about market size, know your damn markets. He was like backpedaling and then couldn't even spit out the damn stat. So, and he's going off of, by the way, he reminded everybody that in 2017, Sacramento was voted as the second ugliest city in America. Okay, 2017, Gilbert, you're still holding on to that, dude? Come on, man. Do better. Dre, what's up, man? Seeing Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton on Team USA makes me think De'Aaron Fox will never, I'm guessing you mean never, play for Team USA. Yeah, I just don't know what De'Aaron would do on, I remember you bringing it up, Jay. I remember. We just didn't stay on it long because he went 2.5 hours on that podcast, and then they revisited it after De'Aaron sent a tweet because Gilbert was talking about, and he's so stupid and uninformed when he's talking about market sizes versus opportunities off the court. It's the classic small market versus big market. Are there more opportunities in a big market? Sure. But you know what else is in big markets usually? More teams, which means they're more diluted. And so in Sacramento, if you're a top guy, and DeMar DeRozan, he's not hurting for money anyways, but DeMar DeRozan isn't picking cities based off of market size. He's picking them off of basketball, as he should, and I respect that. So Gilbert just is one of those sour dudes that's saying stuff to get attention brought up to him. So it is what it is. But back to the question with De'Aaron, I don't see his lane to be on Team USA, right? What does De'Aaron, besides his speed, what does he do that's over the top better than anybody else? It's his speed. It's ability to get to the hoop. And if you have De'Aaron on Team USA, much like you have a Halliburton, which you referenced there, Halliburton can play more of a role without the ball at times. And De'Aaron, it was a little bit of an adjustment this year for him playing more off the ball. Not to say he's not going to be great at that with the addition of DeMar DeRozan coming in, but I just don't see how he would fit into Team USA. Now, a guy like Keegan Murray, who played for the select team this summer, there could be something there. Your high-level role players that have a big ceiling, because pretty much the core of that team is locked in. So part of bringing the select team in is to get a look, foster the growth within the USA program for a guy that you might use down the road. And so I don't know that De'Aaron will ever really get that opportunity. Yes, the Kings are middle of the road there. I've got the athletic power rankings, which we kind of touched on briefly yesterday. And I also have ESPN's. The Kings are 15, according to ESPN. But DeMar DeRozan in a Kings uniform did make the cover shot for that. So really impressed. Dre, a lot of the old guys on this Team USA squad will not be on the next team. True. Your LeBrons are going to be done. You could go down the list. There is a decent amount of them. Kevin Durant won't be on there. Steph Curry, probably last time around for him as well. Almost certainly the last time around. So the roster is going to look much different. No doubt about it. And it's an honor to play for Team USA. Absolutely an honor. You just have to, like a Mitch Richmond. We talked about it yesterday, and we actually talked about it with Grant at 8 o'clock. The whole thing about the Kings and have they ever had a superstar? We both agree Mitch Richmond is the closest, and I know somebody brought that up in the chat yesterday. So good job by you. And then obviously it digressed into more Boogie talk. Can we leave Boogie out of it today? I would really like to not have to talk about him. Zakara Fox has repeatedly said he has no interest in playing for Team USA. Fox values his family time, but there is some benefit to playing with those guys and getting that run during the summer. But especially the benefit comes for a guy like Keegan Murray, a guy like, you remember the summer that DeMarcus played with Team USA? That was a big summer for him. That really lifted his confidence. As I said, let's not talk about DeMarcus. I bring that up, but anything is possible when it comes to basketball. A lot of people, and again, Gilbert Arenas going in about the Supermax deals and market size, and the Kings could never afford one. I've got some audio queued up. We might listen to it in a second. You know, Gilbert Arenas' record against the Kings. By the way, the Kings 1-point game right now, 1:59 left in the fourth quarter, 98-97. So the Kings are mounting a nice little comeback there. In fact, that's almost a 8-1 run. Not too bad by the Kings. So good for them. Keon Ellis filling it up, 26. Mason Jones, the guy we were talking about a little bit ago, 15. So not bad. Drew Timme, by the way, he's been playing some pretty consistent basketball at that big man spot. We talked about him a tiny bit yesterday. Before I forget, I want to send a special shout out. I meant to start the show here. Justin Snyder, our graphics guy. Dude, thank you. If you don't know, he makes a lot of the graphics for If You Don't Like That. Started doing it for the King's Court. He sent me a whole new batch of King's Court graphics that we will start running pretty soon here on the show. So Justin, you are killing it. So appreciate your help and support of the channel, and anything we can do for you, just let us know. But thank you very much to Justin. Let's see. Ask Grant about the carpool lane. No, we'll let that be for the NBA guru. We'll let the guru handle that. That's his thing with Grant. Let's see. Yeah, LA has the highest Skid Row, man. It's rough. It is really, really rough down there. There's in a previous life, I told you there's a reason it's the King's Court. But anyways, there's a judge down in LA that started a running club with homeless people from Skid Row, where he would run with them every single morning. And that's really two clashing lifestyles, two different roads, I would say. You have one road, homeless, a lot of times in trouble with the law, versus the law, literally the person that sentences those people. But he started this running program, and they have gone all around the world. And part of the running program is a rehabilitation program where it's life skills, work skills. You have to get jobs. It is a great story. It's an amazing story. So although there is some really bad stuff going on down there, and there's bad stuff going on here in Sacramento, there's bad stuff in every city. I mean, it's shocking. I was driving over by Cosumnes River College the other day, and you have homeless camps that are literally on the side of the road, right off of Calvine, right over by the apartment complexes. It's insane. You feel for what they're going through, and the heat. My goodness, not only is it a problem for them personally, but it's a problem for everybody else. It's not good for anyone. It's a health risk, to be quite honest with you. But something needs to be done, and hopefully we can continue moving that way. I don't have the answer. If I did, I would not be sitting here talking to all of you. Gilbert reminds me of an athlete who's never felt loved of a town like Sacktown. Yeah, Sucktown. Yeah, he's just bitter, man. He is. He pissed his career away. That's what he did. He pissed his career away. And now that podcasts exist, opening up a mic, talking about it, Kings take the lead, 102-101 against the Knicks. 34 seconds remaining there. Looking up to see who made the basket. We'll switch that over so we can see the game cast. So the Kings making a late run for Doug Christie. Loving it. Can they pull this one out? It would be their second win of the summer. Mason Jones at the free throw line made 2 free throws to put the Kings up. The Knicks now, Tyler Kolek puts them up 103-102. So stay posted on that one. Let's see. Katie said he wants to play in 2028 LA Olympics. It's not happening. There's no way. There's no day. Adam, we're talking fast food. You want to rank fast food? Sonic corn dogs ranked number 26 on the new ESPN list. Sonic's okay. I don't have a problem with Sonic, but I don't know. If I'm going to Sonic, I'm not getting a corn dog. I'm not. And dude, Gilbert, good one. I agree, Jay. By the way, you know his record against Sacramento? 5-14. Gilbert, way below your scoring average too for your career against Sacramento. Gilbert, yeah. Homeless runners, yes, BJ. Homeless runners. They use it. The judge used it as a mechanism to connect with the people on Skid Row. That maybe it was a way, basically, it was a conduit for them to have something in common, working out, running, something healthy for you. So I was a huge fan of that story. Go look it up if you can find it. I'll try to pull it up here in the next couple days if you are interested in it. Dre hopping back in. I feel like Ja Morant and Zion have low-key underachieved compared to Anthony Edwards. Well, Anthony is pretty early in the process. I would say he has overachieved greatly from what the projections were in the draft. Zion just hasn't been able to stay healthy, and Ja can't stay out of trouble. And well, I guess it's a combination of the two with Ja. So health plays into it for Anthony Edwards. He also has better teammates, in my opinion. But Hallie, he's a great player. Let's see. And Tyrese, would you both agree? It's playing time and health. And Hallie's had an issue here and there with his health. Hallie's just a different player. He's one of those guys that you just have to let him take the keys with the offense, and everybody plays off of him. And it's not really, you want to talk about a free-flowing offense. It's not an offense where you're running set plays. It is literally free-flowing with a player like him. But definitely, I would say Halliburton's overachieved. There's no doubt about that. Let's see. Is he the new Agent Zero? You guys are all chopping up about Gilbert. You know what the Kings need? Another Ron Artest type player. Trey Lyles has a little bit of that in him. A tiny smidge of it. He's had a little bit of a... I don't know. I want to say a chip on his shoulder and a quiet chip. He does it with his actions, not his mouth. That's what I like. Now, Artest, he was a little bit of both there. Actions definitely spoke for him boldly at times, whether for the best or for the worst. But I do really like how Lyles will stick up for the team. I mean, hell, that's how he hurt in 22-23. It was with the whole Giannis scuffle after the Kings arguably played their best game of the season against the Bucks and still lost. Dude, nobody is a bust yet. Nobody is a bust yet. Okay, maybe Bronny James, but we all knew that was coming. That's not a surprise. That kid could have balled out in summer, and you still would have had people saying he does not belong in the NBA. By the way, the Kings, scores gone final. The Knicks 106-105. Knicks beat them by 1. It was a competitive game. It was a close game in the first half. Again, tied 53-53 at the half. The standings shake out like this. The Lakers 3-0, San Antonio 3-0, Miami 3-0, Golden State 2-0, Memphis 2-0, and so on and so on. Sacramento down way on the chart. 1-2, unfortunately. So it looks like their summer is going to not go into the elimination rounds and the tournament. Derek saying, yep, Trey has some good fight in him. Yeah, that's one guy, Trey Lyles, when we talked about the Kings making moves, specifically the Kuzma move. For those that don't know, Washington really liked Lyles a lot, and he would have probably been included in any deal for Kyle Kuzma. So Jay's been talking about that 4-5 guy, the prototypical one that we could create through AI and put on the court after printing them in a 3D printer. that type of perfect guy, you would be in a huge hole without Trey Lyles on this team because for all intents and purposes, he is your backup center. I know Alex Len is on the roster, but most nights Trey Lyles is going to have the favorable matchup unless you're playing a Dallas, unless you're playing a Minnesota. So he is an important one. Dre, wow, that was already 2 seasons ago, that fight against the Bucks. It goes quick. It goes quick. This is going to be, once we hit the All-Star break, Sabonis, that'll be his 3rd year in Sacramento. Remember, he came halfway through the 21-22 season. Ware's having a good summer league. I didn't think he was going to be this good. You can't, and I'm with Grant here. I look at the little things with summer league. Turnovers, shooting percentage. It's more of the team stats. How are you contributing to the team in the areas where it doesn't always show up in the box score? You know why? Because for the most part, the guys playing in summer league, that is where their impact is going to be felt if they get on an NBA court and get significant minutes or just get part of the back end of a rotation. Sure, there's going to be bigger expectations for an Alex Sarr, for a Reese Shea. Those guys, because they're at the top of the draft, bigger expectations overall. But you can't take anything from Summer League. In fact, I was talking to somebody there, and they said the goal is staying healthy. Because I kept asking, what is the goal of Doug and the guys in Vegas? Staying healthy and gelling. Those are 2 really important things. And improvement. You want to see improvement. And the Kings actually today looked much better because I watched up until midway through the 3rd quarter. The offense looked much better than it has in other games in Vegas. Where stats looked really good today. He had a good game. Not going to lie, Derek. But again, summer league. That's the big thing here. So your Kings lose 106-105 to the Knicks, leaving them 1-2 in Vegas for the summer. Or excuse me, 1-3 in Vegas this summer. So speaking of Vegas in this group predominantly was coached in the G League by Lindsey Harding. Coach of the year, led the Kings, Stockton Kings, to a 24-10 record last year. She has been with the Kings roughly 4 or 5 years. She started out in Philadelphia, but one of her specialties was working with De'Aaron Fox, working with Tyrese Halliburton. For those that don't know Lindsey's background, she was a star at the University of Duke. A star. In fact, her number 10 hangs in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Think about that. That is a historic barn. And she has a jersey hanging in Cameron Indoor. She was the number 1 pick in WNBA. She's had many coaching stops. She has been very sought after. She interviewed for some head coaching jobs. A couple of them come to mind, but what's more important is the connection to her and JJ Redick. There is a feeling about these Lakers rookies, Dalton Knecht and Bronny James, to a degree, that they can be developed much more than what they are now, and it can be done quickly on Dalton's side. Bronny is going to be a little bit more of a long-term project, but all last season I covered Stockton and the player development going on down there, and Lindsey Harding was right in the middle of it. She has a brilliant basketball mind, and JJ Redick, which a good connection there. Obviously, JJ was at Duke right around the same time she was. In fact, I believe they graduated the same year, 2007. But that's where that connection came in. So that is definitely a JJ Redick move as opposed to a franchise move. They wanted to put some more seniority, some coaching experience around JJ. But it will be felt in Stockton, the loss of Lindsey Harding, because, again, player development was really her strong suit, communicating with the players. She ran a program a certain way. So we'll see what the Kings do. I haven't been able to connect with some of my people down in Stockton quite yet to see who the next move is, who might be coaching that team, but it's going to be important because Colby Jones, remember the 2nd pick last year in the draft, or the 2nd round pick last year in the draft, he, I would say, is probably right about on schedule, but you need to see a bigger jump from him this year. I know last game he played really well in Vegas, shot the ball well, but the Kings are going to have to count on somebody to at least be able to have Mike Brown's trust enough to where if, Jordan McLaughlin, for whatever reason, is getting run and it's not working, Keon Ellis goes down with an injury, Mike Brown has to have one of those two-way guys that he can trust if they get in a pinch. And I'm not talking about playing major minutes, but, sometimes there's those fill gaps, 4 minutes left in the second quarter, 2 minutes left in the second quarter, a minute left in the third quarter. Those times you would commonly maybe see a Davion Mitchell, a Kessler Edwards. Well, both of those guys aren't on the roster this year. So who's it going to be? And I think a lot of people believe it's supposed to be Colby Jones. Again, I don't want to overemphasize what his role is anticipated to be on this Kings team, but the development of him, especially at that guard position, because the Kings, if you want to knock the roster a little bit, they are short on true point guards. You can make an argument, De'Aaron Fox, not a true point guard. You can make an argument, absolutely, that Malik Monk, not a true point guard. And another guy who's not a point guard, but he's a shooting guard where expectations continue to rise, is going to be Kevin Huerter. More and more, I'm hearing there are plans to integrate and more confidence in what Kevin can do with this team now that you have DeMar DeRozan and you've got basically a two-sided effect when it comes to your dribble handoffs. You could run it on either side of the court with DeRozan and or Sabonis, but the important thing here is, and we talked about it a little bit last night and listened to some comments from Tim Legler, is you can free up Sabonis now a little more to do what he's best at. And I know he's been really good at running the offense and facilitating, but too many times, even if Sabonis does work the jump shot into his game, even if he works the three, I know the 3 percentage is good, but he's only shooting 1.3 triples a game. And I don't think he needs to be over 3 or 4 attempts, but I think that's right around where he needs to live from beyond the arc. Outside of that, you want him inside. You want to free him up because DeMar DeRozan will command, believe it or not, at 35 years old when the season starts, there are times he will command double teams. And so it is going to be a mad rush to scramble and get to Sabonis and block him out. He's already a monster on the boards, let alone if you've got a free guy roaming, Sabonis gets opened up in the same ways that De'Aaron Fox defensively got opened up last year towards the end of the season. Once Keon Ellis came into the lineup and became a starter, De'Aaron was able to play that free safety role more on defense, which is really his natural strength. So you let Sabonis spend some more time down there. You put the burn rate a little bit more down. I think there's big things this Kings team can do, but then you go back to Kevin Huerter. I think Kevin Huerter, who by all means, he's a catch and shoot guy. I'm not knocking his game off the dribble. It's just not his strength. It's not bad. It's just not what he excels at. Although I do respect the fact that when he's struggling to shoot the three, a lot of times he'll try to get in. His floater is not terrible once he gets into the lane. But now you can kind of X all that out because he can spot up if this offense is running efficiently. And this cannot be, in my opinion, an offense that's free-flowing anymore. This has to be more structured. If you bring in a guy like DeMar DeRozan, there has to be structure. You've got to run plays. In fact, I would argue you are wasting DeMar's talent if you are just throwing the ball out and saying, boys, you guys figure it out, which to a degree, that was the rhetoric last year to the team. Mike Brown was on record at the end of the season saying that he did not call nearly the amount of plays that he called the playoff year. And it showed. We saw when the Kings were running set plays, it made a huge difference. And it's not only Kevin Huerter that may benefit from this, it's also Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray's best offensive season was his rookie season. And it's because he just spotted up. He spotted up and he shot the three and he shot it at a high clip. In fact, set the rookie record for threes. There is a good chance Keegan Murray can get back to that. Now, conversely, does that stunt Keegan's growth? We had this discussion a little bit last night. It very well could to a degree, but if Keegan's getting cleaner looks, it's going to be playing to his strengths, which it is spotting up, shoot three. BJ hopping in. Thank you, Alberto, by the way. Half court sets need to be need dramatic improvement. Certainly. I wouldn't say that they need dramatic improvement. They just need to be more frequent. The Kings were not bad when they were running sets. The other problem the Kings had last year was basketball IQ. They were slow to react too many times to when teams were shifting from man-to-man to zone. And before you know it, the shot clock was down to 12, 11, 10, and now you're just looking to get the cleanest look, or you're hucking one up and hoping that you get an offensive rebound. So I think that will certainly go up with DeMar DeRozan as well. But there is a lot, and Jay said this last night, and I've been saying the same and reporting, especially about the free throws, that there is a belief in that building that many of the issues last year, whether it was losing to the bad teams, a lot of it was self-inflicted. A lot of times the Kings beat the Kings. And some of the experts don't believe that the talent is maxed out or was maxed out here in Sacramento. They just thought the burn rate was too high with its stars. So there was still room to grow. But the Kings believe that a lot of these things were self-inflicted. And there is a lot of room, not a little bit of room, a lot of room for improvement internally. De'Aaron talked about free throws at his camp. I've yelled it off the rafters. The Kings were down 16.4% in free throw attempts last year. That is an astronomical number. That is huge. Made free throws down 21+%. That is a lot of points, and it's not just the points. Getting to the free throw line typically allows you to set your defense. The Kings are great in transition when they're on the offensive end. Defensively in transition, not always the best. So getting to the line slows things down. You want to talk about half-court sets? That gives you the time to go over those things. Let coach relay in something that he is seeing to De'Aaron, to whoever else is on the court. So again, it's those little things where I think there's a lot of improvement or a lot of area for improvement with this team. In a second, we are going to get to, do you guys want to do the ugliest shoes first, or do you want to do my top 5 Jordans of all time? Let me know, and then we'll get to your list as well. But first, a huge thanks to Bennett's Westside Grill in Rockland, located in the Blue Oaks Town Center. Appreciate them sponsoring If You Don't Like That and the Kings Court. Make sure you get to bennettsrestaurants.com. Check out all of their locations, 3 in all, but also amazing specials, whether it is the weekend prime rib, weekend brunch, Monday night dinner for 2, $65, bottle of wine, happy hour 2 to 6 Monday through Friday. I can go on and on and on. We sing the praises of Bennett, and it's not because they are a sponsor. It's because they are that damn good. If you've been there, you know what I am talking about. So huge thanks to Brian and the team at Bennett's Westside Grill for sponsoring the Kings Court today and sponsoring If You Don't Like That. All right, which way are we going? We going top 5? All right, we'll go top 5. All right, here we go. Let's do my top 5 Jordans. One of them's going to shock you. I guarantee one of them will shock you. Coming in at number 5, let's get the drum roll. Where's my drum roll? There's my drum roll. Thank you. Coming in at number 5, it is the Jordan 17s. The Jordan 17s.
Look away. I'm hideous.
No, they are not hideous. Those are good looking shoes. And in fact, if you ever played in the 17s, they were comfortable as hell. They were some of the best, in my opinion, basketball shoes that Jordan ever made. I know there's a pair that's going to be left off this list that you are not going to be happy about. I had those in 3 different colors. good pair of shoes. Or excuse me, those were the 14s. Why am I saying 17? Those are the 14s. Good pair of shoes. I was saying 17s because actually number 4 on the list actually is, and these are my boy Mike Bibby's PEs, the low 17s. Those were fire. I had a pair of the black ones that were actually the PEs. I looked for them in the garage because they're a wreck. I know that I have one of them left because I had it up on my mantle for a while. But those were super cool shoes. They also had the black and the chrome. I know that those also came in the high top. Mike always wore the low top. So I absolutely freaking loved the 17s. Wow, the 17s, not highly mentioned or regarded. You know, they probably aren't, and here's why. It's because we got a different view of them. Mike always wore and I'm going off of the ones that Mike had because I had both pairs. But Mike always wore the low tops of any of the Jordans that came out, and they were obviously in Kings colors. So for us, they pop a little bit more. So I guess, yeah, it's a PE. So, you know, maybe I'm being a little biased there. We will go to the next. What's it going to be? This one might shock you. Here we go. You ready? Boom! The 11s. Anybody have the 11s at number 3? I'm sorry, but this list is wild. Yes, I know I said that they are the 14s, Adam. My bad. The first pair was 14s, not 17s. Those are classic. Obviously, the Space Jams. The Space Jams are special shoes. Had a couple pairs of those. I didn't think they were the most comfortable shoes ever. I really did not think they were the most comfortable. Going on to number 2. Here we go. It's got to be the 3s, right? It's got to be the 3s. The 3s to me are iconic. On the court, off the court. The shoes really on the court weren't super comfortable, but those are timeless. They come into so many different variations. They've done the retros. And then my number 1 pair of Jordans all time. Yes, I am leaving the 12s off, by the way. It is the 13s. The 13s to me are the best shoes of all time. I love the 13s. The black and red, the white and red. They were my SU colors. I rocked those my entire career. So yes, those are my top 5 Jordans of all time. That is very subjective. You can debate probably any pair outside of some of the later ones. The later ones get a little bit weird, but you were never a Jordan fan, Derek. Interesting. 3s, Adam is saying his favorite. Adam, there you go. All right. Well, see, this is why. Do I still wear Jordans? Good question. No, I don't, Alberto. I do not. I'm too old. I'm too old to wear Jordans, man. You might catch me in a pair of 3s. I almost picked up some 3s not too long ago, but yeah, I don't really wear them. They just look goofy on you once you turn like 35, 40, in my opinion. And plus, like, I don't know, my outfits are different now. I don't know. Do you guys still wear Jordans? Are you guys still rocking them depending on your age? I'm guessing most people middle age. No Jordan 4, Adam. Nope. I'm telling you, dude, 13s were the bread and butter for me. That's why I think it's fun conversation. Now, the ugly shoes, that's a much more fun conversation. Derek, what are the chances of Drew Timmer making the roster? Very, very slim to none. He might get, he'll be on the G League team. He won't be a two-way player because you only get 3 of those. But he'll be down in Stockton developing. He will not be on the roster, in my opinion. And remember, Monty said that the Kings are not done. Remember that. He said that they're confident going in to training camp with the roster they have right now, but it doesn't mean they're done. Doesn't mean that they're going to be in a rush. They might take their time a little bit. So a lot will change, but this really is kind of the proving ground. And I know I've said Summer League doesn't matter a ton. Once it comes to training camp, the focus is going to be on your main guys. And I know the basketball preseason is much different than the football preseason in this way. The guys get run in the preseason for the most times in the NBA. Yeah, I'm with you. I prefer comfortable shoes. Well, right now it's Isaac Jones that has the third two-way spot. So that is what it will come down to. Remember, the two ways are not always, and I don't have the contract specifically in front of me. So you've got Isaiah Crawford, and Mason Jones as your two ways, which mean Colby. It's a good point, actually. Now that I think about it, Colby Jones is going to have, as we sit today, a full roster spot for the Kings. Flores, these shoes are for style, so I give the age thing a pass. I still wear mine in early 40s. It's all, yeah. If you want to floor them, pull them off. I just can't pull them off anymore. My wife makes fun of me if I wear, in fact, I've got right now the gold 97 Air Maxes on, and she laughs at those. So if I put a pair of Jordans on, she thinks I'm trying to get really, really young, which I am not. So Drew Timme, probably not there. Some people can pull them off regardless of age. It's very true. Very true. You want the uglies. All right. Well, we already talked about one of them yesterday. Here is number 5 on, well, actually, I'm going to show you number 1 first. Number 1 on the ugly list. We already talked about it. It is no surprise. It is the Air Bacons. Those are hideous. Those are just terribly ugly shoes. Although I had a pair, I had to rock my Mitches. It was cool to have a pair of the Mitch Richmonds, but those things were donkeys. Those were donkeys for sure. All right, let's go to the next one. The next. Ooh, which one do I want to go with? Yeah, this is definitely number 2. This is going to be a deep pull. The Latrell Sprewells with the spinning wheel. Anybody here have the Latrell Sprewells with the spinning chrome wheel? I guess it's more of a plastic wheel. Hey, Latrell had to feed his family, right? The Sprewells, those are pretty damn rough. Saying that the Bacons wouldn't be bad. Interesting. Skip Bayless does wear some wild shoes, I hear. Yeah. It is all it's all subjective. If you think you can pull them off, pull them off. I just don't think I can pull them off anymore. All right, here we go. The next pair on the ugly list. Are you guys ready? I want to see if you remember any of these. 2 of them you'll remember, I think. 1 I don't think you'll remember. You should remember these. Do you remember the Big Hurts? The Frank Thomases? Before he's been slinging his male enhancement supplement? Those were in every famous footwear. You wore them for basketball. You wore them for indoor soccer. You wore them for baseball trading. The Frank Thomases were everywhere. Yeah. Good job, BJ. The I'll choke you out shoes. He is known for that. Dude, I thought the foam posits were not bad. I'm not going to lie. I thought the foam posits, the first ones, the pennies, those were pretty cool in the Orlando colors. I like those. All right. Derek's saying those aren't that bad. Fair enough. All right, let's go back to the ugly list. Put your uglies in there too. I want to see what you guys think is ugly. Coming in. Here we go. The Allen Iversons. It's got to be the Iversons. They were comfortable. They were donkeys, though. Those were donkeys. I was not an Allen Iverson, the answer shoe fan. In fact, those were some of the first shoes. You remember, they had some gel inside of them, and they were supposed to be extra comfortable. You're supposed to feel the gel move on your feet. Yeah, gross. The zebra shoes, the Frank Thomases. How many people could pull off some of these shoes today? I don't even think Skip Bayless is pulling off some of these. Let's see. I had the blue pennies. Those were sick, man. MC, they had the penny sign on the back. I loved it. Dude, you're on my bad side right now. You, my friend, have me drinking this during a show. Yes. You know I don't usually do that. It's usually this. And that's all because you did not drink your ration, Haunted Horse, when you came here to Sacramento. Those look like Tim's. That was probably, so the white, red, and gold ones weren't terrible. This is when Iverson was in Philly at this time. They had those cool throwback jerseys too at that time. Alberto Ryan, which was your favorite shoe for game days? The 13s. Every day of the week. The 13s were my go-to. In fact, the I guess I'm going to say it. The LeBron ones were incredible shoes. I thought LeBron ones were great freaking basketball shoes. They were low cut. So I would always go 13s if I had to go a little bit higher, 17 lows. I'd wear the Mike ones from time to time. And then also the LeBron ones had those in 2 colors. Dude, I've got a story for you, Haunted Horse, about a cat cafe that I think you might be a part owner of, my friend. All right, let's see if anybody remembers these. I had a pair in junior high. I want to see if anybody remembers who these signature shoes belong to. There we go. Do you remember those? Look at them.
Look away. I'm hideous.
Look at them. Do you guys remember whose shoes those were? I do. He played up north. I'll give you a hint. He played up north. Horse has been playing in that Diet Coke troll for years, right? What are you thinking? Yeah, Derek, he's chiming in on the LeBron ones too. The LeBron ones were great to play in. And that was right around the same time as the Air Hachimuras. Was it the Hachimuras? Or I know Rory Hachimura, but what was that? There was a pair. Good guess. Very similar, MC. Very good guess. He had a similar shoe. Close. You're getting close, guys, but no cigar. It is not Sean Kemp, not Chris Bosh. Ooh, I could do the Monk giveaway on this, because you would have to, somebody pulling out their phone right now and doing an image search, see what that is. He had another signature shoe that was extremely popular after this shoe. This was before his most popular pair of shoes. Yes, good job, Derek. Yes, MC. You came in just slightly after Gary Payton. Those were the Paytons. I wore those in 7th grade. That was a rigid, uncomfortable pair of shoes. It wasn't even close. That chrome piece or plastic piece, it served basically as an ankle brace. That's what it was. You didn't have to wear your ankle braces with that. But yes, those were the year, I believe, before. You guys remember the gloves that zipped up? Those were pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. But those, yeah, the zip up hand pair. That's right. In fact, MC, we'll throw those up really quick. Let everybody know what we're talking about. These were a nice pair too. The gloves, and they zipped down. Here we go. It's going to be, oh, there we go. Check those bad boys out. Those were really, really good shoes. Really good shoes. And there's the hand that MC's talking about if you see it popping through right there. So, all right, if you guys have any suggestions on great or ugly basketball shoes, throw them in. What about Velcro? Whatever happened to Velcro? Good old Velcro. When was the last time somebody in this show or watching this show wore a pair of Velcro shoes? I don't think there's anything wrong with Velcro. Velcro is not terrible. I mean, there were worse. Yes, the Vin Baker's Bane. Those were not good. Yeah, the gloves were good. Did you guys like the white gloves or the black gloves? I prefer white shoes usually, but in this case, I think the blacks were way better. Those look like Batman shoes. No, not seeing it, Horse. That was a clean pair of shoes. You know who else had a clean pair of shoes? Ken Griffey Jr. I did not have the Shaqs. No, the Shaqs and the Frank Thomases were really similar. If you notice the styles of them, I always thought those were super similar. Derek, I'm with you, dude. The up-tempos, 6 shoes. Are you talking about the ones that say Air, or are you talking about the ones that have Air in cursive on the heel? Yeah, Mark, well played, dude. Big baller brand. Those were people were paying like $300 a pair for those. Insane. The Griffies, indeed. Those were sick. You had the 24 on them. The pennies, you guys remember the first pennies? I thought those were actually a very good looking pair of shoes. Air Trainers, got some Velcro. All right, I'm with you. Yeah, the ones that say Air. Okay, so I'm talking about the ones after that. I'm talking about the ones that Mitch Richmond had, and they actually kind of had some of those bead things on there on the side of the shoe too. I loved those ones. And you know who kind of, to me, has taken over? I don't want to say taken over, but has gained a lot of value in the shoe space in terms of holding value, just really a good investment in a good shoe. The Kobe's have really, really become more in demand. I know the Grinches are really popular. I actually found a pair of Kobe's not too long ago that I have that I'm not planning to wear. The Kobe 9 or the Kobe 2s, yes, I remember those, no doubt. Destroyed the Suns with these. Yeah, good. Well done, MC. The Converse Cons, the Chuck Taylors, probably the most uncomfortable pair of shoes in the history of shoes. Can we agree on that? The Chuck Taylors were just nasty. Those were not fun to deal with. Ryan, in college, did you ever wear the Power Balance wristbands? I was out of college by the time those came out. And yes, I did. Somebody gave me one. That's kind of one of those things that there's no way it works, right? There's no way. It's not like when you used to go to the state fair. I used to look forward to going to the state fair for this one reason. It was to go to the shoe cleaning booth where they would throw the stuff on your shoes. I forget the name of the brand, and it would make your shoes look brand new. We would always load up on that stuff at the state fair. That was good stuff. Anything Kobe, hold on to. There was a guy on Pawn Stars, by the way, that sold this massive lot of Kobe Bryant. It was one of one memorabilia, stuff that was game worn. He had some really cool stuff. He sent that the Mambasitas. There you go. I've never played in the Mambas. So, and this is the Adam's talking about the high tops. Yeah. The Chucks. That's the preference. It's the whole high top versus the mid to the low. I always found it very, very difficult to play in a high shoe. So I was always mid to low, but I will tell you this, guys used to get in a lot of trouble if they rolled their ankles wearing low. If you were wearing lows and you weren't wearing ankle braces and you weren't taping up, you would get in trouble. So that was one shoe that was never, ever, ever team issued. I know some NBA guys went through that as well. So that is our shoe segment, by the way. We're going to break up the sound. I was talking about Gilbert Arenas, Agent Zero, earlier in the show. This was his response to De'Aaron Fox.
Good people of Sacktown took offense to those comments.
Damn, I don't want to say the other city because I was kind of close to that city.
Don't do it. Good.
You got DC, then there's another one that's number 2.
Don't do it. We don't need beef with any more cities.
It's not this article.
In the United, but nonetheless, the good people of Sacktown took offense to those comments, and even De'Aaron Fox offered some thoughts to you saying DeMar needs to come play in a big city. So De'Aaron tweeted the following: said Chicago's the 3rd most populated city in the country, and San Antonio is top 10, by the way. Cry emoji. Cry emoji. Shout out to De'Aaron Fox.
Top 10 most populated
Yeah, like I don't
by
Because you say
people.
you said DeMar needs to come play in a big city like
A big
LA.
market.
A big market. Play with the
Big market has nothing to do with how many people
Okay.
are in a city.
De'Aaron Fox sticking up for
I don't know if
new
he
teammate.
understands. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he doesn't understand like markets, NBA markets. There's like for shoe contracts, for marketing deals. There's certain cities that hold thrusts.
Okay.
And Sacramento there's 30 cities. Oh no, not even 30 cities. There's Sac is at the bottom 5, and San Antonio is in the middle of the bottom. So they're at around San Antonio's around 20, and they're around.
We were also supposed to get.
You know, I mean,
They're around what, Gilbert? Did Gilbert just call De'Aaron Fox out for not understanding market size for basketball teams? And then he wasn't able to explain market size? Gilbert, dude, if you're going to run smack, my man, you have got to, and I mean got to, know your stuff, dude. 5-14 versus the Kings in his career, by the way. 5-14. Leading scorer today for your team, USA, 21 points, 24. I said that early. Steph Curry. You also get 17 from Bam. Yeah, Adebayo. So good game for Team USA. They beat Serbia 105-79 in probably their most convincing game of this offseason. He's a clown. He doesn't understand it. Okay. DeRozan goes back to LA, which really doesn't matter, really, in the grand scheme of things, because you're talking about local marketing deals. These days in the NBA, De'Aaron Fox, first Steph Curry athlete, first guy to get a signature shoe with the Curry brand, right? Like, he's in Sacramento. I get Curry is an hour down the road, hour and a half down the road, but you have how many professional teams in Los Angeles? So I'll ask you guys, what do you think is better? You have 2 baseball teams in LA. You have 2 NBA teams. You have a WNBA team. You have 2 football teams. Those are all pro teams. We're not even talking about the colleges now that there's NIL, because NIL changes everything. It does. Those athletes are now in the same running as you. And granted, they're not going to be getting signature shoes, but you know what they are going to get? The smaller things. Like, what do we always think of here in Sacramento? Pizza guys, right? I'm a pizza guy. Yes, Patrick. And Gilbert sucks. Your Knicks took down the Kings by 1 today, buddy. In Summer League in Vegas, sending the Kings to 1-3 in Vegas. But getting back to my point, those pizza guys ads, those smaller ads, those are the ones those NIL guys are going to be after. So when you come to Sacramento and you're somebody like DeMar DeRozan, opportunities are plentiful because you don't have as much competition. It's just stupid. If you're going to run the smack, run it. Everybody's happy that Patrick is here. Speaking of smack, did you guys see the ESPN athlete countdown? The top 100 athletes from 2000 to current? Really interesting list. They've got some soccer players that fill up between 49 and 47, or 50 and 48. And then 47, you have Jimmy Johnson, who is auto racing. I see it. Max Scherzer, right? No kidding. Thank you. How did Timmy look? Not bad. Timmy came out, shot well at the beginning, kind of faded off as the game go. Let's see what he finished with. Mr. Timmy, Drew Turber. Timmy finished with not bad. There you go. Drew Timmy. He had 9 points. He was a +2, so not as good as some of the previous games. Mason was your second leading scorer, 20 points. Your leading scorer, Keon Ellis, 29. Isaac Jones, 13 for the Kings. Losing effort, 106-105. Haunted Horse hopping back in. I think NBA players like nightlife and fun more. It's changed. This is a great conversation to have with Napes, by the way. If you haven't heard his take on this and social media, it's completely changed what the guys do when they go to towns, and especially on the road. They don't like to go out. They don't. They're doing more stuff in their room. They're bringing their video games. Think about the Jordan days. I'm sure we've all heard some of the stories about Michael Jordan, whether true or not, some of those urban myths where he had an entire floor to himself when he was on the road in the hotel. You've heard the Rodman stories, certainly. You've heard stories about other guys that are pros now that get away during the season. What about James Harden, right? Phoenix is a party city, and Sacramento are not party cities. No, they are not. But that's not a bad thing. When you're 35 years old, you're not looking for that. That's part of the consideration in drafting these guys. You've got to look at how they're going to adjust to that and their personalities. You know, Domantas Sabonis, great example. He loved playing in a small market. He had only been in small markets. So it works for some. It doesn't work for others. I know one it didn't work for, Rajon Rondo. Not a fan of the small city stuff. How long was he here? Although he helped the Kings, he was only here for a year. We bring Alex in on the conversation. What's up, Alex?
Hey, what's up, Rhino? How you doing?
Good. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good. I wanted to chime in a little bit on the shoe stuff you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm probably in the minority, but I've never really liked Jordans. I feel like you have to wear. I don't even know. To me, they don't look good with outfits. It's just a personal preference, I guess. I did own one pair of them though during when I played basketball back in the day. And for some reason, it's not just mine. I've seen it on a lot of other people's too. They developed some kind of squeak on them. I'm not sure why. That's another reason I wasn't crazy. Yeah, like some kind of like an air bubble type squeak thing. It happened to mine, and I thought it was just mine. And all my other buddies, the same thing happened to them too. They had some kind of like air bubble squeak to them when you would step. So I don't know. I wasn't always a fan of those, but I did really like the Vince Carters, if you remember those.
The Vince Carters. I'm trying to think.
They were like a combination of. Do you remember the Nike Shocks? They would have it looked like little springs almost on them.
Oh yes. You know what? I think those are what they gave out. Yes, these are what were given out to us in college. These are exactly what were given out to us in college.
The Carters?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Right
See, so those I liked a lot. They had I want to say maybe 3 or 4 different. There you go. That's crazy, dude. I haven't seen those in years. Yeah. What do you think of those?
Yeah, they were good shoes. They were around for a long time. At least at SDSU, they were around 2 seasons. I wouldn't call them great shoes, though. Look-wise, I thought they were pretty decent. I had seen worse.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that's my only little chime in on the shoes. I'm also not a big shoe guy, though. I think plainer is better. I don't like the real flashy looking shoes. It just reminds me of trying to be in a rap video or something. I don't know. I just like regular shoes, I guess. But anyways, that's enough of the shoes. But as far as summer league goes, I haven't seen a whole lot. I have chimed in here. It's tough to.
Sorry,
oh no, you're good. But yeah, like I said, it's kind of tough to follow in summer league because most of the guys aren't going to be on any team for the most part. Of course, I like to see Keon play. I know people really like the Tim. Is it Timmy or Tim? Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I know they like him. I just think I've seen him a little bit because I saw a lot of people they're fans of his, but he looks very laterally challenged. Which, hey, you never know. Maybe he'll develop in the league, but he looks real slow. The one guy I did like a lot, I think it's not mainly him. It's more his stature and his structure because of what we lack. I like that Arms kid. He's very long and strong. Arms. Yeah. I don't know if he even has a shot or what. I just like his prototype since we're missing that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's raw talent size right now. The NBA game is much different once you come into it, especially coming from college or coming from overseas. I don't think he's a terrible fit, but like anybody that's going to be getting or has the chance of getting significant time, you've got to ball out in summer. You've got to be head and shoulders above everybody else, and you've got to be beating everything the other team's throwing at you. Like you think about the Keegan Murray year, he changed the summer league team. That was the year that they won summer league and then ultimately made the playoffs after that. That team was shooting a ton of threes. Remember? Everybody's like, wait, we can shoot threes now? And Keegan right from the jump, I mean, was just hitting. So you knew there was something there because of the consistency. I share your concerns about Drew Timme. I don't think he gives you athletically anything better than Alex Len. In fact, I think it's probably a step back from Alex Len athletically. However, 3-point shot, much better. But Timmy's a little bit more undersized. That's the problem. You remember like the Kings having Chuck Hayes and having guys like that? That's the category that I would put Timme in if he was ever to get some run here in Sacramento.
You know, Chuck Hayes is a good guy. I remember meeting him at one of the games. I just was always frustrated watching him play because he always seemed a little bit overweight and a little bit vertically challenged, but also he played hard. So, and then he was nice in person. So it was hard to like hit on him after that. But it was one of those, he was here when, of course, we were the struggling Kings, you know? So I think there was a lot of that bad juju and bad memory to go with that.
Chuck was the hustle guy, you know, like that was part of his game, that build. He was that different guy that like could just step onto any court, like anywhere in America and have a force in the game. He did the things a lot of people didn't want to do, but I get that. He would not have been able to make the impact, in my opinion, that he did had he not had that body style.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now I do, and again, my take on Summer League this year, I mean, take it with a grain of salt because I've seen like 5 minutes here, like 6 minutes here. I haven't sat down and saw a full game, so my take might be fully off. But I think when I saw arms, I'm like, oh, that kid, he's built for what exactly we need. We're lacking size and strength, and you just see him shoot a free throw, and that dude, he is massive. He's got some art. His last name matches his body type. That dude has
he's got a
arms on him.
reach. He does have a good reach. There's no doubt about that.
No, definitely. And then another thing too, I was kind of thinking was, I know you were playing. I haven't caught up fully on the full week of episodes yet. Been kind of busy this week, but I know you were playing Monty McNair's interview where he was talking about how we might be done. This might be the team going into camp. You know, I think we were talking about it last week on that show where there were 6 or 7 of us. Where I think it was Adam, right, who brought up what's your starting 5 going to be if this is the team. And I was saying, well, I'd be pretty upset if it was, but I played the game. Man, I don't know how I'd feel about that because I think you and Grant were talking about how we might be a 5th or 6th seed possibly with the squad. I'm just not that confident, I guess, because we still lack size and athleticism. So maybe we'll do good, but I'm just very concerned about that still.
Yeah, and it's a fair concern to have because you see a lot of the teams in the Western Conference, even across the NBA, starting to get a little bit bigger than they've been in past seasons. Both teams in the Western Conference Finals last year played 2 bigs. I guess what I go back to, and we kind of talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the show, what DeMar DeRozan brings you indirectly changes the way, in my opinion, the Kings have to play in the half court. And it changes you back more to a closer form of what you were in 22-23, where you're not asking Keegan Murray to step out of his comfort range to create. You're not asking Kevin Huerter to create, right? You're instead letting them finish, which is what they do best. And I think it takes the burn rate down on Sabonis, takes the burn rate down on Fox, which indirectly opens things up for a lot of the guys to excel in the areas where they excel the most. So I do think the game for the Kings is going to slow down, which is not a bad thing. Transition, get out and run, but other than that, slow down. So I think in the half court, if they do things the way they should and have it more structured, I think that some of the concerns about athleticism, at least for the first half of the season, you'll never know until they roll the ball out and play. I think you got to wait with those. And I think that's the position they're taking, because one of the things with Monty, Alex, is always staying fluid, being able to make a change if you want to make a change or try to, upgrade the roster mid-season. That is still available to them. They still have cap space. Things are going to change for other teams. After Summer League, guys are going to get cut. Teams will reshuffle to a degree. That's usually when the G League rosters get filled out. So there's still a lot of time where the Kings could possibly make a move.
Yeah, no, and I get that, and great points by you. I'm just, like I said, if this actually was the roster going into camp and preseason even, I would definitely be concerned. I hope that's not the case, as you say, and Grant said, there's plenty of time, and I know that. Maybe I'm being a little impatient too. But, if that is the team, yeah, I'd be super concerned, because how many times last year were we just bullied by the Rockets, the Pelicans, and when Dallas made the trade for their guys, they beat us 2 times in a row on those very crucial games at the end of the season. So of course, I still have those nightmares of that, and just thinking DeRozan's great. I just, obviously it doesn't help our lack of size and athleticism, but I definitely see your point, and hopefully, I just hope worst case scenario they can grab somebody like Precious if he's still available. He might not get a whole lot of run, but just to plug and play in case we play somebody like the Pelicans or somebody like Minnesota who runs 3 bigs at times. Again, just kind of thinking of last year's deficiencies.
Yeah, remember the Kings played well against Minnesota last year.
They did, yeah.
They played really well against Minnesota, and for the most part, or at least first half of the season, they played well against Dallas. As for the Pelicans, and I get your point about being concerned, as Kings fans should. We do all get a little bit impatient from time to time, because you're not coming off of a successful season. You're coming off of a letdown, right? And you don't even make the playoffs after making the playoffs for the first time in 16 years. But teams are going to look different. Is Brandon Ingram going to be in New Orleans anymore? We don't know. The market kind of reset after the DeRozan signing. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out and what the opening night rosters look like. And usually with this team, you need 25 games to have a good idea. I think 25 games, Grant goes by about the same, that kind of sample size to know what you're dealing with. And again, Alex, if it's not there, I'm sure there's going to be other teams that are going to be looking to make moves. These aprons that we've talked about all offseason and leading up to the offseason have had a huge impact on how teams are transacting, and they're really, really watching it for the most part. So you never know. They could still improve.
No, yeah, it's very true. And also, I do think if the Pelicans do lose Brandon, that I think they're going to take a significant step back, even though they just got DeJounte, because you lose Najee Marshall, you lose
Larry Nance Jr.
Yeah, Larry Nance, who didn't get a bunch of run, but he played good minutes for them though. And he he was a formidable big. And then you add Brandon Ingram to that. That'd be a pretty big loss, I feel like, in their depth. And Valanciunas, we even forget that too. He gave us all kinds of problems. So that's a lot of size and depth to be lost if they lose Ingram as well. On top of that, even if they don't, they still lost size. So I think your point of the whole the apron thing, I think that's changed a lot of teams and perspectives, because even the damn Lakers, they haven't done a whole lot this offseason because they're in that weird little
LeBron freed up $2 million extra for them, and yet they tout him as a Jalen Brunson that gave up $100 million. Get out of here.
Yeah, no, definitely. So although we did, I'd say we got better. There are teams that definitely got worse. So who knows? I could be overthinking about the size athleticism thing from last year, but the Pelicans situation, I don't think we're going to lose 6 games to them this year.
Yeah, here's the other question that I've been kicking around in the back of my head, and I haven't really come to air with it, but I will now, is how many teams last year possibly overachieved? Because if you're going to put teams in categories, the Kings, to me, would clearly go under the underachieving category. So like a team like Houston, did they overachieve last year? A team like the Pelicans, did they overachieve? Some of the same things that you're talking about. So for me, my optimism is higher than a lot of Kings fans because, as I said about 30 minutes ago, I think a lot of the correctables can be corrected. Fairly easy. Fairly easy.
Yeah, no, of course. And I think I've been more on the pessimistic side just because last year left such a ugly taste in my mouth after being, so happy the first year, the previous year, 2 years ago. But again, I'm glad about DeMar. I hope we can get at least one more big, or as Jay calls it, a power center, just to make me feel a little better about the team situation. But last thing I want to throw in is, I know you're not a big UFC fan, but I encourage you, just try it out, dude. I know you talked about how I think it was Monday's episode, because I haven't caught up fully yet, but how there's a show every week. There's pay-per-views all the time, dude. It's worth it. That's literally that's what I eat, sleep, and breathe. I love MMA and fighting and all that. Give it another chance. There's so much more in depth and better than they were in the Chuck Liddell days and the Tito Ortiz days. They were very one-dimensional. Now everybody's 4, 5, 5th dimensional. Everybody has a ground game, a striking game, a Muay Thai game. I encourage you to check it out. I know it's not your thing yet, but I encourage you to try it.
So Alex, who are the stars right now in MMA? Like if you had to put one guy at the top of every weight class or gal, who are the stars?
So one guy right now, so if you're I guess a quote unquote casual fan, you'll say McGregor. Well, even though he hasn't fought in a long time, he still has a lot of star power. But if anybody that watches it, they'll probably agree with me. It's a guy named Alex Correa. He took MMA by storm about 2.5 years ago, and he's won 2 belts in 2 different weight classes. He has a great story arc too, kind of comparing to pro wrestling a little bit. But just Alex Correa, look him up. That dude is a savage. He has a great entrance too. He comes in a Indian headdress and a Apache Indian, and it's amazing. It's awesome.
Nice. It seems like they're going a little bit more on the entertainment side. They're at least trying to dress up like the intros and make it more mainstream appealing. I don't want to say wrestling-ish, but they do own WWE now too.
Yeah, the TKO stuff. And I think you probably have seen online. There's 2 fighters, Israel Adesanya and MVP. They came out as Undertaker in the last year. They did Undertaker.
Oh, really?
It was awesome.
Cool.
It was
awesome.
Yeah. And again, I know I keep saying last thing. The last thing I would say for shows that are slower or non-Kings news, put out a question maybe like, how did you become a Kings fan, or when did you become a Kings fan, or what made you become a Kings fan? It'd be kind of cool to see everybody's backstory of how it happened, or even yours for that matter.
Cool. I love it. I am open to that. We can definitely do that. Alberto's saying O'Malley. I've heard of him.
O'Malley for sure. So the only thing holding back Pereira, the guy that I said, is he doesn't know English too well. And that's hard to grab North America when you don't know English. He knows a few words, but O'Malley, he definitely reaches the audience. And yeah, that's a guy I'd put up there too. He's the champion. He has a awesome podcast. He's great on the mic. He has pink hair. He's crazy. You gotta have a character too. So yeah, I definitely agree with that as well.
Love it. All right, dude. I appreciate the feedback. And by the way, if you guys, Alex, I'm really glad you did that. So if you have any suggestions, shoot them our way. We are open to them, especially during the slower times of the year. We try to keep it fresh, but that's a good question. Maybe we'll do that for the Monk jersey. Best story wins.
Yeah, like for that. Sure. Right. I'll do mine real quick. I became a fan because of the Undertaker. So I grew up in a Raider. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I know that sounds crazy. So I grew up in a Raider household. It's all football, all everything, just football. That's it. Eat, sleep, and breathe football. So I didn't have a basketball team, and I started playing when I was maybe when I was 8 years old, something of that matter. And I didn't have a basketball team, but once you play a sport, you automatically gravitate towards the pro side because you want to check it out and see it on TV and stuff. So I was a massive, still am, Undertaker fan, and I happened to watch Chris Webber on TV, and they were wearing what I think are the best Kings jerseys to date, the black and purple jersey. It was all black and it said Kings, and in regular writing when they're outlined in purple. The famous Jason Williams jersey, basically. I saw them
Yes.
wearing that, and I'm like, oh, that looks like the Undertaker. I like them. And ever since then, I think I was 8 years old. Like I said, it became a Kings fan.
Nice.
Yeah, so-
I agree with you. I think the 2001, 2002 jerseys, best jerseys of all time. Where they had just the white, the black, and the purple. I love the purple ones too. Those were great.
Iconic. Even like Jason, and Jason Williams, I feel like I know you had a discussion about jerseys getting retired. I don't know if I'd say retire it, but he has gone into pop culture because of that iconic 55 black with outlined purple jersey. That jersey, you've seen all kinds of celebrities, athletes. That's bled into pop culture. So, and like I said, that's the best jersey to me from any Kings ones that we've had. I wish they'd bring them back as a throwback just to wear. It'd be nice seeing Fox and Domas wear it. Even DeRozan, that'd be tight. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I think there's a reason they haven't brought that back. I think they're waiting. That will come back as this team gets better. I hope to goodness those gold jerseys never, ever, ever see the light of day again. Those were terrible.
Do you have insight on that, or you just think they're going to bring that back?
No, it's just a feeling, 'cause it's the best Kings team that's ever been here, right? That's the best era of Sacramento Kings basketball. So I think once this team is firmly in a window, I think it's likely you will see that jersey again or some variation of it.
Well, hopefully your manifestation will bring that into it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Ryan, I appreciate the time. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Of course, buddy. You too, Alex. It's funny that Alex brings up the Jason Williams jerseys because my 8th grade year when I graduated, my parents said you can get whatever you want up to this price. Well, I want a Jason Williams jersey, but I want an authentic one. Like I wanted one of the jerseys they wore on the floor. And at the time, does anybody remember this? Maybe Haunted Horse will remember this. Florin Mall had a store, and I think there is still one in Arden, but it was called Sports Fever. Sports Fever. It had every jersey you could think of. But even they could not keep the Jason Williams jerseys in stock. And the authentic ones weren't as big of a thing back then as they are now. And they had to have one specially made. And I just remember how much I freaking loved that 55 jersey. So he's right. It did cross over iconically. But those jerseys back in the day that they wore, that was some heavy, heavy mesh. Like scratch your back heavy. Alex getting some reaction. Let's see. Adam's the WWE guy, and Alex is the MMA guy. Funny. Kevin, what's up, man? Alex, you are a kid. LOL. Been a fan since they came to town in '85 as a teenager. Yes, showing my age. LOL. Had season tickets from '89 to 2005. What a cool time to have season tickets. You literally watch this franchise grow. Incredible. I would love to sit down with you, Kevin, and pick your brain sometime. That is awesome. I remember the 90s, and then obviously as I got older, the early or the late 90s, early 2000s, those were really good. So I'm looking at NBA. I know we started doing the ESPN list, but I want to talk about this really quick. So the DraftKings over-unders came out for wins this season in the NBA. We briefly went over the Kings a couple of days ago. The Kings are at 45.5 wins. There's a couple of numbers on here that jump off the page to me, and they're the ones near the top. And the one that I have to question, and the reason I'm doing that, I want to play Tim Legler first. It's going to be about a minute and a half clip. He's breaking down the Kings offense, if I have it at the right spot. And then he's also talking about the Western Conference and where he thinks the teams line up, especially at the top. And he actually has something to say about your Kings. So here's Tim Legler.
With getting the ball to him to start the possession in specific spots. What this might do also is create other opportunities for Sabonis on the offensive glass, because DeMar DeRozan is going to get his share of double teams. When he starts to back guys into that middle area of the floor, he gets hit with late double teams all the time. If that ball comes out and a shot's taken and you're in rotation mode against Sabonis, good luck trying to get a body on him to keep him off the glass. So that could be another way. If you cut back a little bit of the usage rate for Sabonis initially because you got DeRozan, there's other ways for him to go be effective and go get the basketball.
I think Mike Brown is good at adjusting to his personnel. I think it's one of his strengths. And one of the thoughts from when he took over from Alvin Gentry, I thought that they added a lot of off-ball stuff for guys like Kevin Huerter. Now that Keegan Murray is there, things for him. So I actually have faith that Mike Brown will be a good coach at doing this exact thing. Like, okay, on the fly, we're going to have to make some adjustments here. But the big question now is, like, how good is this team? They retained Malik Monk. I was worried they were going to lose him in the offseason. I actually thought he was going to be, out the door. They retain him. You still have Keon Ellis, who I like a lot. Keegan Murray, who was one of your guys that you were very interested to see which way he goes. So actually, before we ask how good they are, let me ask the Keegan Murray part. He was on this climb, becoming a player that was, okay, maybe there's more to the game, his game. Do you feel like this halts it at all? Does he now take a lesser role in the offense and maybe he taps out?
I think so, but I do think he's got areas of improvement with his catch and shoot three still to come, and that could be more opportunity.
I think he's spot on there. We kind of cover that, and I agree with Tim. He's the one that actually kind of put that in my mind about Keegan Murray. He was talking about DeMar DeRozan and running the DHO and being able to open up areas for other guys on the court. Now, the question becomes, does this stunt Keegan's growth? Do you want Keegan to have a natural growth progress like you saw last year? I don't think it stunts his growth whatsoever on the defensive end of the court. We've seen him have games where he scores no points, 2 points, yet he's a dog on defense. And to me, he is to the defense what De'Aaron is to the offense. So I'm going to go back to Tim really quick because they're going to get to the West, and then we'll make our next point.
Opportunities there. And if the shot quality is better because of the amount of attention now that you've got to give other people, you might see him have an incredible year shooting the basketball because the looks are going to be cleaner. So maybe he's got a little bit more reliance on the 3-point shot solely than he did before. But look, what are you going to do? DeMar DeRozan's a better player, and he plays a certain way. So when you've got 4 deep in terms of your top guys, one of those guys is going to have to do a lot more catch and shoot. And that, in this case, is going to have to be Keegan Murray.
Right. So how good do you think they are now that you see this move? Like, are you elevating them up a tier? Where do you slot them in the West?
I'm saying this, man. Like, there are, I guess you'd say, depending how you look at this, 3 or 4 teams clearly better. And I don't even know if the 4th team you would even necessarily go there, but I think we're going to agree. Just going into the season based on what happened last year, any additions or subtractions, do the math on it. These teams are going to be better on paper going in. Oklahoma City, we agree with that, right?
Yep, 100%. I think they're the best team by far.
Minnesota.
Okay.
Dallas.
Okay.
Denver.
Yeah.
That's it. You can't tell me that you can't make a case. First of all, you might even get Sacramento even in that Dallas-Denver mix in terms of regular season wins, man. It's not going to shock me.
So how about that? Tim Legler thinks the Kings could be in that group when it comes to regular season wins. Now, I don't disagree with the first 2 teams. Well, I kind of disagree with Minnesota too. I want to see Minnesota do that for another season. I know Anthony Edwards, he's not going to change. He's going to get better. But the Cat factor, they play much different when Cat is not on the floor. He seems to be good to miss 20 games every season at least. Remember, he had knee surgery towards the end of last year. But Dallas, I agree with. I think Dallas is going to be up there, even though Kyrie Irving did suffer an injury, had to have that repaired via surgery, injured his wrist or his hand. I'm not sure the reporting I saw wasn't clear, but it happened in training. But the 4th team, Denver, the mainstays, the champs, coming into this last year, they have regressed to me. to a degree. They lost a lot off of their bench. Jerry and I talked about this a couple of days ago on Tuesdays. If you're just joining in, yes, Catmate, Cat. They lost a lot off their bench last season. And then you move into this season, what they lost, and they were counting on Deron Holmes, to their rookie, to have an impact. Torn Achilles in Summer League, out. So did not do the one thing that everybody hopes for coming out of Vegas, and that is being healthy. You also lose KCP, right? And he goes to Orlando, and he was to Denver at times what Malik Monk is to the Kings. Now, when I think about Denver starting five, Jamal Murray has trouble sometimes staying on the court, which leads me to this in the DraftKings win totals, the over and the unders. They've got the Timberwolves at 52.5, and then they have the Nuggets at 52.5. I think that's an under. What does everybody else think? I'm looking at the Nuggets roster. Yes, you got Jokic still, you have Murray, you got Porter, you've got Gordon, who this is the last year of his deal. You got Saric, he's going into the last year. You lose DeAndre Jordan, Deron Holmes not there anymore. Obviously, DeAndre Jordan, Deron Holmes was going to be his replacement. But outside of that, you still got Christian Brown. Where's the pop? Could Denver regress? I'm not sure that 52.5 is going to be the number for them. So let me know, do you go over, you go under, and do you think the Kings can be a top or be a part of that group like Tim Legler suggests? The Kings are at 45.5. I think 50 to 51 as they sit today is the number. Now, does that get you the 5, the 6? You're probably in contention there. But again, I'm not sure that Denver's definitely going to be a playoff team anytime that you got Jokic, but I am not sold that Denver is going to be the threat that they have been the last couple years. So these numbers are interesting. We can go over them some more as the week goes on. Check this out. The Lakers. What do you guys think the Lakers are at? Have you seen the Lakers number? The Lakers are 44.5, only a game worse than the Kings. What? The Clippers, 41.5. Interesting. Spurs, 34.5. Now that one is tricky. Is this going to be the year for Wemby and the Spurs? Now that you got HB there, you got Steph Castle there. It's really, really interesting. And then to your point, Jay, at the beginning of the show, Alex Sarr, Vegas is not expecting much, only 22.5 wins. Haunted Horse, you are right there with Washington at 22.5. Only lower team than that, Jordy Fernandez's Nets at 19.5 wins. We'll talk about it more at 8 o'clock with Napes. I do want to go over some of these because it is interesting. Celtics, I just gave it to you, 22.5. 22.5. He's talking about this. This is what he is talking about. Horse, you are in trouble with me, dude. I am never drinking another Diet Coke in my life. I am the dude that has one Dr. Pepper with dinner, and that's usually it. Maybe a second one if I'm feeling frisky, but I don't slam Coke like that. And I've got Coke that I've only got one left from 6. So that's on you, my man. Dude, my people back east call it pop, or at least in the Midwest where you're at, Adam. All of my family in Texas, they call it pop. So I am with Horse there. So anyways, a lot to still talk about with the Kings. Fun day. Talk some shoes. Talk some MMA. What do you think about Tim Legler's comments? I still think a lot to look forward to for your Kings. A lot of mistakes, self-inflicted mistakes that can be easily corrected. And Domantas Sabonis, by the way, who's led the NBA 2 years in a row in rebounding, if he can get a little bit less, and we keep saying burn rate. If you don't know what we mean by burn rate, that's usage. It's running the offense through him. It's shot attempts. It's all those things. Times that he is actively setting his team with the advanced analytics, setting his teammates up to be in the position to have an assist, and they don't cash in. All those things go into it. Adam says 37. Yeah, I think they're in the 30s. Maybe 40. I think 37 to 41 would have been a better number. And there's a reason that they're over-unders. Vegas knows their numbers. But the Rockets, 41.5. Yeah, the rest, the Trailblazers. Let's see, the Pellies, we said. The Grizzlies. Now, that's interesting. Grant is really high on the Grizzlies. Vegas has them at 46.5. 46.5. I think the Grizzlies are going to be over 46.5. Now, the other team we haven't talked about, the Suns. The Suns are at 46.5. I think that's going to be under. I know that you're going to say, Ryan, you've got the rose-colored freaking glasses on right now. No, I don't. It has not worked between that big three of Booker, Beal, and Durant. Durant's a year older. Beal, a year older. Some more injuries that he went through last year. Booker, he has an injury from time to time, but he's pretty reliable and still a very explosive player playing for Team USA right now. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. So I'll go over these with Grant tonight. Make sure that you are subscribed if you haven't already, if you don't like that. By the way, do me a favor. We are 3 followers away. 3 followers away from 1,000 on the King's Court Twitter page. Do me a favor, and thank you, by the way, if you already follow. But if you don't, scan that QR code. Give us a follow. When we get to 1,000, I'm going to be announcing something new for the channel, and it is going to involve an event, a get-together for all of us. So help us get to 1,000. And when we get to 1,000, I'm going to give away the Monk jersey. That's what it's going to be. If you want a chance at a Malik Monk signed Kings jersey, which we have one to give away, compliments of true sports cards and collectibles. Help us get to 1,000. That will trigger the giveaway here on the King's Court Live. But yes, Grant and I will be back later tonight at 8 o'clock. Come join us. I appreciate everybody coming in today. It has been a fun one, helping us get through the dog days of summer. Look, we just did 2 hours of content, basically, with no commercials. And it is summer. Not a lot going on besides your Kings, who did take the L today to Patrick's New York Knicks, 106-105. Keon Ellis, the standout there, 29 points. Turnovers, a much more tolerable number for me at 2. Coming into today in Summer League, he was averaging 5 per game. So, all right, we'll be back 8 o'clock tonight. Make it a good one until then. I appreciate each and every one of you. Will be back tomorrow live at 2 p.m. here on the King's Court. Again, huge thank you. Huge thank you. Justin Snyder. Can't wait to roll out these new King's Court logos. Those will be coming out in the coming days in our next shows. So make it a good one. You all had some fun with the good-looking shoes, the ugly shoes, talking some Kings wins, what they still need, some Alex Sarr, ton of stuff. So we'll go over it some more with Grant tonight, and bring your questions. Take the show any way that you want to take it. Hit it to Dora.
Holy moly, Jimbaboli.
Go Kings, light the damn beam. As my boy BJ says, stay the hell away from Levine. Court is dismissed for this Wednesday.